Monotheistic religion was actually about you. Let me tell you how. The body, the nerves, everything. It's all about you. Religion is an emanation, symbolically, of what's inside of us, the human form. We are the third temple being rebuilt. Whether it's the Vedas, the Book of the Dead, the Biblios Helios, it doesn't matter. It's anatomical, energetic blueprints, not historical records. So let us decode this, all right? With the body as a limited temple and the crown and the root, okay? And we're going to just walk through it kind of briefly, but in depth enough for you to leave this video and have learned something new. So we are the macrocosm of the macrocosm. The 12 cranial nerves is the 12 disciples. I'm pretty sure you already knew that, okay? That's not coincidental. The 12 cranial nerves as the disciples of the brain are messengers, and they carry the word of the higher mind into the world. They correspond to the 12 tribes, the 12 zodiac signs, and the 12 disciples of Jesus. Cranial nerve function is symbolic of correspondence. So olfactory, that's the smell. That's the disciple who perceives the fragrance of truth. The optic sight, that's the disciple who sees the divine. That's the seer. You have the ocular motor eye movement. That's the disciple who moves the eye of the soul. Then you have the trochlear eye rotation, the disciple who turns the gaze inward. You have the trigeminal face nerve sensation. That's chewing. That's the disciple who discerns. Then you have the abductus lateral eye. That's the disciple who sees the horizon of truth. You have the facial expressions, the taste, the disciple who expresses the divine. And you can look at the vestibular of hearing, which is the disciple who hears the word and is able to maintain equilibrium. You have the glossopharyngeal nerve. That's taste, that's swallowing, that integrates wisdom. You have the vagus parasympathetic nerve. That's the wandering disciple who connects the body to the divine. And it goes from crown down. The head and the shoulders, the movement of this. This is a disciple who bears the weight of the spiritual work that we are here to do. The hypoglossal tongue movement, that's the disciple who speaks the word into existence. So the vagus nerve is one of the most important. It's the wandering disciple, okay? So when you connect the brain to the heart, the gut, and the lungs, it is the channel through which the Holy Spirit, the pneuma, moves through the body, or the ruach. This is ether energy. The pineal and the pituitary gland, that's the milk and the honey glands. Now, the pineal gland is the third eye. It releases a masculine electrical substance that's called honey, which is DMT. DMT contains this fluid that opens the door to non-ordinary realities. It is connected to the Pingala nerve, the solar masculine current within the body. Now, the pituitary gland, that's the master gland. It releases a feminine magnetic substance that's called the milk. It is a nourishing fluid that grounds and integrates spiritual experiences. It is connected to the Ida nerve, the lunar feminine current. This is the Shakti. When these two fluids combine in the ventricles of the brain, they form the Christos, cerebrospinal fluid. That is the oil of enlightenment. This is the land flowing with milk and honey. It's not out there. It's in us. It's not a geographical Israel location, but it's in your skull. The colostrum, that's the gatekeeper of ascension. Now, the colostrum is a thin sheet of neurons. It's deep inside the brain, and it serves a dual function. So when you are pure in body, mind, and intention, the colostrum reaches into Christos consciousness using a cerebral spinal fluid, and it carries the seed of consciousness back to the heavenly realms. This is the ascension that Jesus went through. So when you are polluted by toxins, fear, unresolved trauma, religious guilt, the colostrum releases neuromelanin, which is a blackening substance that can calcify the pineal gland and seals the third eye, but it doesn't have to if you are doing alchemy. This is why in mystery schools they require purification. The oil of enlightenment will not rise through a clogged vessel. Okay? Now, the corpus callosum, this one is really interesting. This one is the Ark of the Covenant. It actually looks like the Ark of the Covenant. It is the bridge of nerve fibers connecting the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain. This is actually the Ark of the Covenant. It is the sacred container of the law, the neural codes of the divine. They sit between the two hemispheres. So when the Ark is open, the hemispheres are balanced, right? The presence of God dwells within the temple. You're able to think as your higher I divine self, or Ori, which I call I divinity. Now the heart, that's the throne of God. The exact measurements of the heart is in a lot of monotheistic religion. And they describe the throne of God with precise measurements. The heart has 4 chambers, and this corresponds to the 4 living creatures, Ezekiel, and in Revelations. The walls of the heart are the veil of the temple. So the Hebrew Bible gives the dimensions of the Holy of Holies as 20 cubits by 20 cubits by 20 cubits. This is a cube. So the heart in its geometric perfection is a torus field, a donut-shaped energy field that is the seat of the soul's electromagnetic signature. The heart's torus is the actual throne of God. That is the place where the divine and the earthly meet. Now the pericardium. This is interesting because I had to have a pericardial window put in my heart, which is what started this journey many years ago in 2009. But that is the sac that surrounds the heart. It is the veil of the temple, and it separates the Holy of Holies, which is the heart, from the outer court, the body. Now when the veil is torn or pierced, as was done to Jesus when he hung on the cross, it symbolizes a breaking connection between the soul and the divine. Hence, he had to descend after that happened. Now, the arteries, okay, the coronary arteries are like the rivers in Eden. They flow from the throne of God, okay? The 4 elders of Eden, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, Euphrates, they correspond to the 4 main coronary vessels that feed into the heart. They carry the water of life, okay? And you need this for your entire body, right? So what about the gut? Now, the gut is the cauldron of creation. The bowels is hell or Sheol. The bowels are the hell of the body. They are the place where waste is processed, where the chaff is separated from the wheat. This is the food that's beneficial, the nutrients, the minerals, from the things that are not. Okay, so this is translated as Sheol in Hebrew, Hades in Greek, the underworld, the place of the shadows, and waiting in ancient Kemet. This is the duat. This is the digestive tract. Now, the large intestine is the lake of fire. This is where the waste of the body is incinerated through fermentation and bacterial breakdown. The small intestines is the burning bush, where the fire of digestion transforms food into energy. Energy as in the essence of God. Now, what about the liver? The liver is the altar of sacrifice. It is the largest internal organ. And in Kabbalah, it's associated with Gevurah, which is severity. And the Klipoth of Golachab or Golakab, it's the burners. In Chinese traditional medicine, it is the burner as well. Flesh, toxins, pathogens, emotional pain. It is all burnt to sustain life. But when the liver is overloaded, it creates gall, which is anger, resentment, spiritual bitterness. Everything emotional is not always just emotional. It's connected to the organs. And the gallbladder, that's the serpent of bronze. The gallbladder stores bile. This is the bitter fluid that's used to digest fats. In esoteric anatomy, bile is the serpent of the bronze that Moses lifted in the wilderness. It is a substance that bites or heals, right, to create for the body. So when the gallbladder is blocked, the serpent cannot rise. You will have difficulty with this. Diabetes, issues with, many other organ issues. Now, the eye of God, this is, again, goes back to the pineal gland, but the spleen, it filters the blood. So that's like separating from pure and impure, right? But the kidneys help with the fluid, right? This is the house of G, willpower, the kidneys. This helps the soul as well to release what is no longer useful. This is why a lot of black people have to end up on dialysis. There's a deeper connection, and I can't talk about it on this platform, but I will on Patreon. Now, the 33 degrees of initiation, the human spine, of course, has 33 vertebrae, 7 vertical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, the sacral. This is the number of the highest Masonic degree. Okay, this was the age of Jesus at crucifixion. And it is the number of the serpent of wisdom that coils up the spine. Now, the first cervical vertebrae, the atlas, remember we had 3-eye atlas? Yes, that holds up the world of the head. It is the Titan Atlas of Greek myth who holds the celestial spear on his shoulders. Have you been having headaches and shoulder pain? It's all connected. So in occult anatomy, Atlas is the pillar of the world, the point where the mind meets the body. Now you have the Gnostics. I dreamed about this, and this is how I learned about the Gnostics. This is the forbidden fruit. The Gnostics is the tailbone. It's the remnant of the serpent's tail. It is the forbidden fruit at the base of the tree of life, which is in your body, the place where the Kundalini sleeps. Now, when the serpent is awakened, it rises up the spine to the crown. And this is what creates enlightenment. The intervertebral disc, these are like the 12 gates of Jerusalem. The intervertebral disc are the gates where the cerebral spinal fluid flows. So they are the 12 gates of Jerusalem, each guarded by a disciple, which is one of your cranial nerves. When a disc is herniated, it is a closed gate that prevents the flow of life force. You can see why Western medicine, allopathic medicine, is such a big deal. It's much deeper than it seems. The lungs are the breath of life. Now, the lungs is the ruach, right? The spirit. The lungs are the organ of the ruach, Hebrew for breath or spirit. They are the place where the air, pneuma, enters the body. Now, the Biblios Helios says that God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Genesis 2:7. This breath is the link between the mortal and the immortal. The diaphragm, that is the veil of the tabernacle in ancient texts and monotheistic texts. The diaphragm separates the lungs, the spirit, from the gut, which is matter. It is the veil of the tabernacle that separates the holy from the profane. So when the diaphragm is too tight, you breathe shallow. And for those of us who have complex PTSD, this is what we do. And the air, the breath, the spirit cannot fully descend into the body. Now, blood, this is the river of life, all right? The blood holds the embedded frequency of the soul. The blood is the soul. Leviticus 17:11 says that the blood carries the nefesh, the life force. It is the river of life that flows from the throne of God, okay, which is the heart. And in alchemy, blood is the red tincture, okay? This is the transmuting agent that turns base metal into gold. Now, what about the thymus? Well, the thymus is the house of the soul. The thymus gland is located behind the sternum. It is the most active in childhood, and it shrinks as we age. In esoteric anatomy, the thymus is the house of the soul, so that's the place where the life force enters the body, which is why it depletes as we get older. Its shrinking corresponds to the loss of innocence and the growth of your ego. A lot of us are getting tripped up with this. The ego is meant to ascend, not stay there. Now, the skin is the veil of Maya. The skin is like the serpent's coat. The skin is the coat of the serpent. So when God and Adam talked about this in the fall in Genesis 3:21, it's the boundary between the self and the world, the veil of Maya. This is also the simulation, the holographic reality. And in anatomy, skin is a liquid crystal antenna that receives and transmits electromagnetic frequencies. So the skin is actually like fourth dimensional of the body, connecting the inner world to the outer world. It is a fourth dimensional bridge. When you get goosebumps, Yeah, that means something. You're accessing dimensions. Now, the Septuagint of the body, this is the endocrine system. It is the body of God, the messengers of the divine will. Now, gland location and esoteric function, like the pineal being in the center of the brain, the third eye, the seat of the soul's vision, the pituitary at the base of the brain, the master gland, this communicates with the divine, the thymus, upper chest, the house of the soul, that's the seat of innocence, the thyroid, the throat, the voice of God. This is creativity, expression, adrenals, above kidneys, the battle of Armageddon, fight or flight, pancreas, behind the stomach. That's the house of bread, which is called Bethlehem. Nourishment, gonads, pelvis. That's the tree of life. That's creative power. Also the sacral chakra. So what I have basically walked you through is the point that I have been making, that the body is the third temple. The human body is not a machine. Western medicine has treated it that way. But it is a temple. It is a microcosm of the universe. The Bible, Biblos Helios, the Quran, the Vedas, the Book of the Dead, all of these are anatomical and energetic blueprints, not simply historical records. They describe the architecture of the soul. They describe the map of the inner journey. They describe the macrocosm of the microcosm. So the 12 disciples as the 12 cranial nerves, and the throne of God as the heart, with hell as the bowels, and milk and honey as the secretions of the pituitary and pineal gland, and the tree of life is the spine. The Holy of Holies is the brain's ventricles. The altar of sacrifice is the liver. The river of life is the blood. You are the scripture. Your body is the text. Your soul is the reader. And the true meaning is revealed when you stop looking for God in the clouds and start looking for God in your own self. Now, I am going to continue with some of these decodings. I've been doing series now, if you haven't noticed. But if you want to go deeper into learning from me, you can join the Coven if you are a woman. You can join Patreon for whoever you are. And the Coven is even open to people who resonate with feminine energy. That's okay. As long as you not causing a problem over there, it's cool. And I will put all of the links in bio in the description, depending on where you're watching this. But I hope that this clarified it, because I've written ebooks and I'm talking about this and kind of walking you all through some things that can help you access this information. Yeah, it took a near-death experience for me to even access this information. It don't come free. You just got it for free today for me. But yes, it was a lot that I had to go through to gain access to this information. Years of research, years of personal experiences and studying. And it's really beautiful that we're here now. So now when you see things happening in the external world, think about what you learned today. And you'll see that there is a much bigger divine plan at play. Peace, y'all.